Bible. It's like 3 Bibles up here.
Yeah. I got one. I got one in there, but I'm using my phone today. That's cool. So,
Oh yeah. That's always the way. Things is changing. How you doing, sis?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Yeah. Anybody got any questions? In particular scriptures? This is the Brotherhood class. It's gonna be like a scripture breakdown class. Just whatever topic.
Stacey Dash.
Stacey Dash. Oh, what she say? She says now she ready to date black men again.
Oh wow.
That one too.
Wow.
That one too.
Okay. What was it before that? That's the new story. She want to date black men again, but it was something else before that.
First, you want to come to the cookout.
That's what she said.
Come back to the cookout.
What?
Nah, that's what we say. That's what we say.
I thought you were talking about to the past. I thought y'all knew or something.
No, she's just trying to get back with the brother. She want to be back in Israel.
Is Shane a heathen?
I don't know.
Somebody told me he didn't like to be in love with that woman.
You know what? I don't know. Somebody look into that. Look into that because she is a sister with green eyes, right?
Right.
I mean, you got to question it.
Salaki. The first movie that I saw her in was called Enemy Territory, and she was in the hood, and it was 2 rival gang members fighting.
The first movie I seen her in was a movie called. This is a long time ago. It's called Clueless.
Right, Clueless.
I think that might be her biggest movie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The one with the Wayans brothers.
Oh, Mo Money.
Mo Money. Yeah,
Right.
Mo Money. That's the one.
Mo Money.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Mo Money.
She always had our hearts too. Even if you're Mexican, you'd be like, I like her.
But yeah,
that's it.
But he killed her off though. I was like, all right.
It's the high.
Well, that's just like
What is
Jada
it, green
Pinkett,
or
though.
blue?
Like who?
That's like Jada Pinkett, though.
She always look like a dude to me, man. Just
Jenny
look like a dude.
I
Man.
mean,
Now she do.
She do now, but
With
when
all
she was
that
younger-
plastic surgery and stuff.
Right.
It's better to just let yourself, go natural, be natural, and age naturally.
Yeah.
You start putting all that stuff into you, you start looking like who did it and what for, as you get older, because now everything is hanging. Sometimes, and it's like getting a tattoo. It's like it's an addiction. So once they get a little bit, they just can't stop, and then next thing you know, they're looking like a damn plastic Barbie doll or a Ken doll in the face, face all square, and just don't even look like a person anymore. You know what I mean? Don't look like they all swole up. You know how somebody look like when they get beat up and the face be all swole? That's how they be looking. So it's better to just love the way the Lord made you. That's my opinion. I don't know, but
that's our opinion.
That's our opinion.
That's our opinion.
That's the stand. That's the stance of the Isupk. It's better to love yourself how the Lord created you.
That's especially our sisters, man. I be telling them all the time, like, you don't even need all that goddamn makeup. You about to mess your skin up with all that shit, cake face in it. Like, nah, you don't even need that.
Right.
Real.
So, like, sir, who was the one that was with Biggie? Queen,
Lil Faith.
Lil Kim.
Oh, Lil Kim, man. God,
Little Kim looked like some kind of.
She looks swole.
She looked like the lion from the Wizard of Oz. She all messed up. Yeah, she don't even look like a person anymore. You know what I mean? That's how you know it's an addiction, and it's something that's dealing. It's like dealing with who they are on the inside, and their self-esteem, how they feel about how they look, right? And so once they start doing it, it's like they can't stop. It's like I said, the only thing I can compare it to is the tattoos. Like some people get tattoos and they just keep going to their whole body, face, everything is covered. That's the same way, man. Like with that plastic surgery, and then now it's cheap. You can take your income tax and get some plastic surgery, but when I was growing up, plastic surgery was something that people with money did.
Yeah.
Now it's like average people, getting plastic surgery. And I think you can even get it through like government assistance programs too. and Medi-Cal programs. You know what I mean? You can get some type of surgery, plastic surgery, dealing with changing. You know what I mean? Especially how the government is behind the gender thing. I wouldn't be surprised if they got programs for you to change your gender. You know what I mean? And the government is backing, the government funded, right? Because it's like, it's all about inclusion. It's all about, you know, you can't speak bad about nobody. You gotta love them. They still people. They still, you know what I mean, are human beings, right? What you gonna say, something?
Yeah, I still don't know what the hell my gym owner is. Hey, it look like a woman who got a deep ass voice. I'm like, is this a man turning woman or a woman turning man? So and I feel like gym dudes, I'd be nervous going there. Scary.
So what did she say? I was gonna say the sister, but we don't know if Stacey Dash. Somebody in the comments, you can let us. Can you type in what is Stacey Dash's nationality? I heard that she was Damon Dash's sister. I did hear that.
Right.
She may be a sister. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but also I'm not for sure. I heard somebody say that she's doing this now because she's running for political office or something like that. I haven't read up on it, so I'm not sharp on what's going on with Stacey Dash. I just know those comments about she's ready to date black men again. So
she don't have a job.
She don't have a job, but if she's became a politician, that's a way to win back the love of black people, which is an area you have to win when you're trying to be a politician. You got to have black people vote count in that way. But our vote don't really count as far as making a change in our community, but it does count with black, white politicians in getting our vote and getting those ballots to get into office. But of course, we know voting ain't never did a damn thing in the black and Hispanic community. It ain't changed no type of outcome as far as police brutality, as far as, you know, even with you look at the education in what is it? How we have the old textbooks in the black schools and in our neighborhoods, we have outdated textbooks and all the things you can say that's wrong with the black community. Voting hasn't trickled down and changed the reflection of what happens in our community. You was gonna say something, Sawat?
Oh no, I just had to do what I go. So y'all can let me know. Go ahead,
Was it a particular story or anything on that? Another thing is the WAP, the Grammys. Yeah, I personally never really paid attention to award shows like that, but it's a big thing on the internet. With give me if somebody could pull there should be no whores of the daughters of Israel. This is a big thing with this Megan Thee Stallion Cardi B performance. And there's a lot of posts. There was a lot of posts I was looking at where it was Karens making a post. It was Israelites making a post saying how low have we came as far as the children shouldn't be able to see this type of stuff. And when you go on these posts, it's black women that's defending Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. And so their main argument was that your children shouldn't be up that late at night. Your children shouldn't be watching the Grammys. You know, it's an adult show. You should be a better parent. This is black women on these posts saying like, you should be a better parent, you know. And somebody said, okay, well, you know, you can't hide nothing from children. They get phones. A lot of people buy their kids phones, right? Tablets. And they say, well, okay, well, use the parental, what is that? The thing where it lets you know everything they've been looking at. Basically, it's
parental discretion.
Discretion. That's what they say in the top of the movies. Parental discretion is advised, right? But you have those things on those apps where you can watch what your children is watching. You can keep tabs on them. And they were making that argument. It was like, well, you need to be a better parent. Black women were saying you need to be a better parent. If you're mad at this, your children shouldn't be watching the Grammys. But yet, our daughters is on Instagram and Facebook twerking and half dressed. So who the hell is they watching? They watching Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. You know what I mean? That's who they watching. That's what they get from this society. This society, it takes a strong woman not to take your clothes off in this society. It takes a strong woman a strong-minded sister to not post pictures with your breasts all out and your ass all out, excuse my language, with your body all out, right? And there are women that exist that they know how to be covered, and they still beautiful, they still classy, they still got style, and men still is chasing them.
That's right.
And they ain't showing their body to every Tom, Dick, and Harry, right? But that's so they say black women came on those posts talking about, be a better parent, but yet our children are twerking and stripping on Facebook and all of that, right? So the bigger, hold your point. The bigger thing is, it's not about the children. It's about, I see how our people as a whole have lost their morality. We have lost that level, particularly our women have lost that level of class, of modesty, have lost it. You get what I'm saying? And that comes from following the so-called white man, or his woman, the so-called white woman, who bared it all first and started sexualizing her body first. And then our women followed suit with America, with the white woman in America. Was it, so Wap, you had your hand up first, or? Go ahead, Shadarak. Give us Shadarak. So
yes, sir. They had I have a precept for you, but these women are following Marilyn Monroe back in that. They're following her and all her, when she said that she sung "Good Morning, Mr. President" back in the 50s or something.
Right.
And JFK, she was singing to JFK or something. But our sisters is running after Marilyn Monroe and the beach girls on those shows, those beach movies and stuff. It's really immoral.
Right. So what you'll find is, like, I had just did a video. What you'll find is that our people is a carbon copy of white society. We know that. We know in the truth that black people want to, deep down inside, the reason why they hate the truth is because they want to be like what they see white people are in America. And we are a microcosm, meaning we are a small world of the bigger world, of the bigger society. We're a small world. We're identical to that. We do things a little different, but at the root of it, everything they do, everything what was once taboo in the white society, and then they say, okay, they get more lenient, and they say like being transgender was once taboo. Being homosexual when I was growing up, it was what? It was called in the closet, right? Nobody, we knew there was homosexuals, but it wasn't flamboyant and just in your face. Right. You know what I'm saying? With the rainbow and all of that. It was none of that. But when it became acceptable, it also became acceptable in the Black and Hispanic community, right? So what they do trickles down to our community. You know what I mean? What they say is acceptable, we start to accept, right? We start to say, you know what? Two men, two women being in a relationship, that's love. It's still love. Why can't you see that? We start to try to fight for it and defend it. You know what I mean? In the same way, black women are trying to defend, which basically was a Grammy stripper show with Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. They had a pole. They had like a stiletto with the pole coming from the tip, and swinging on it and dancing on and gyrating on each other. And that's how the world looks at it. Somebody give me Deuteronomy. I want that Deuteronomy 4. Go. Yeah, you got that. You still got that precept?
I got that precept.
Hold on 1 second. Let me get it real quick.
So like you said chapter 4.
I'm gonna make sure. Give me 1 second. Might be Deuteronomy 4 and 5. Yeah, so just give me Deuteronomy chapter 4. We're gonna start at verse 1, but hold that. I want what Shadarai got first.
Deuteronomy chapter 23 and verse 17. There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel.
There shall be no what?
Whore of the daughters of Israel.
There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel. Being a whore is not cool, but in this society, they make being a whore or even looking and talking like a whore cool. They make it look like it's the thing to do. And that's why I said it's so hard. You have to be a strong woman, Black Hispanic woman, to not show your body, to not feel that pressure of that's how you get accepted, right? Because deep down inside, like that's how women feel. Women feel like in order to get the acceptance, they have to bear it all. They have to wear the skimpiest outfit. And as a man, I'm telling you, you don't have to do that, right?
That's right.
Can any brother, can any brother agree with that? Am I saying something brothers don't know?
Nah, you think
A woman can be absolutely covered up, perfectly covered up, and all you gotta do is see her face and you know, hear her talk and get to know her personality, and you'll fall head over heels for the woman. You don't need to see her ass, excuse my language, you don't need to see her body to fall for a woman. A man will still chase a woman. Like I went into the history with our sisters, with black women, like from the 1900s, 20s, 30s, 40s, all the way to the 50s and 60s, and how they used to dress. And they used to dress so modest. They used to have clothes on, but they still look good. They still look glamorous. They still look stylish, right? And I said to myself, you don't think man was chasing them? You don't think it was a brother waiting every time the sister came out the house like, Charlene, you don't give a brother a chance? Of course they was chasing them women.
That's right.
And they body wasn't exposed. When our women go online, and like I try to tell people this, everything you put online, it stays online, right? Then this world we live in, you got so many what is it? What's the word for creeps? I guess you got so many strange things going on with the so-called white man. These people is taking your pictures, taking the pictures of your daughters, and you know, Lord knows what they doing with them. Yeah. You know what I mean? Right. Lord knows what they plotting and planning. And then you got thousands of black women and little girls coming up missing without a trace, without an absolute trace. This is a story. If you can find somebody, grab that story, you can find it with black women coming up missing. It's about probably 4 years old. And at that time, it was 75,000 black women missing without a trace. That was like 4 years ago. So you know it's in the hundreds of thousands now. Every time you look, there's a black woman, a black girl missing. Have you seen her? My daughter didn't come home. She's 16. Blah blah blah. And sometimes I actually go and look at the profile. I'll be like, oh, she got social media. And what do I see? Her posing like Megan Thee Stallion. Her posing like Cardi B. You know what I mean? You can't tell me that children are not watching these artists. You can't you can't tell me that because the white man decides to put Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B on television that I should be a better parent. My children shouldn't be looking at that. It's not just on the Grammys, it's everywhere. You know what I'm saying? It's everywhere. You could have a basic Facebook account. You could have a basic Instagram account. Don't have no friends at all. And when you go on there, what you gonna see? Tail. You're gonna see women with their tail out. You know what I mean? That's all is on there. So it's almost like it's impossible for your children not to see that. But what is possible is for you to raise your children in a way that they won't depart from it, right?
That's all right.
It is possible to warn your children of these pitfalls in the white man's society. That's possible. You raise your child the right way, and when they see that, they know what time it is. They'll understand like your son. He'll understand like that's a whore. That's the type of woman I don't want. The Bible says a woman should be like this. When your daughter, when she goes out with her friends and they want to do something, wild or something, she say, "Well, I'm not doing that." That's not how a woman's supposed to carry herself. I wasn't raised like that. The things that we'll teach our children will stick with them. That's the only way we can prepare our children, because this world is so wicked. They're going to see Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B. One way or another, they're going to see it, right?
Right.
Was that it on it? You read the whole, was it?
Oh, wait, there's one more sentence.
Yeah, go ahead.
It says, there shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel.
No wars. Go ahead, keep going.
Nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel.
Right. So this lifestyle of being, whores and a hoe being glorified, and this lifestyle of saying that two men can be with each other and it's still love and they can adopt a child and still love. The Lord said, don't do that, man. And if you do that, you're going to get jammed up. You see, we think that we can just do what we want and nothing ever happens to us. We think as Black and Hispanic people, we can do what we want because we look at white people. They live it up. They have the pride parades. They do drugs as for recreational use. Well, when we do drugs for recreational use, we become addicts. The Lord jam us up. We lose everything. We end up in prison. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When we want to be a homosexual, we get an STD. We get something we can't get rid of. You know what I mean? Like the white man can sniff lines and run a Fortune 500 company, but you can't as Black and Hispanics. You can't do that. You're gonna get jammed up. The East Indians and the Moabites, the Chinese, they can eat whatever they want to eat. They can eat all kind of abominations, and nothing happens to them. But you eat it, and you'll be at the doctor, and the doctor will be telling you he don't know what's wrong with you. They can't figure out what's wrong with you. But you eating all the gumbo, crab, shrimp, and lobster, and carnitas. You eating everything you're not supposed to be eating, and you suffer from it. But they don't suffer from it. They live their life out to the fullest. You die from high blood pressure and heart disease and all kind of clogged arteries and all kind of complications from your health, from what you eat. That's Black and Hispanic people for you. We pay a price for what we do against the Lord, whether we know it or we don't. Well, in Isupk, we here to let you know what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing. So you had something? Did I tell you to get scripture?
No, just that story about the missing Black woman.
Yeah, go ahead and read that for the missing Black woman. While Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion is empowering women, right? That's what they said is women empowerment. While they empowering women, Black women is missing, man. They're coming up missing. Little girls is coming up missing. So who's taking them? The same one that's looking at Cardi B and them and lusting over them and saying, you know what, I want one of them. I'm gonna go snatch me up one of them at the bus stop. Go ahead, Doc.
Often unsolved, underreported.
Underreported.
According to the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children, there were around 613,000 missing persons cases that were reported last year in the United States. Black women comprise around 7% of the entire population, yet the estimated number of them who've gone missing, including girls, is 64,000.
64,000. When is that dated, huh?
This is 2019, sir.
2019, 64,000. There's one that's a little older than that, where it's in the 60s or the 70s. It's at least about 4 years old. But let's just use that 64,000. You ain't even heard about it. You don't. This is a epidemic. You know what I mean? This is something that Black people should look at like this is a pandemic.
Yeah.
While we walking around with mask on and worried about the coronavirus, we should be worried about who's snatching Black women off the street. That's what we should be worried about. While we worried about Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion bringing women's empowerment, we should be worried about who's empowered enough to snatch our women off the street and it don't get reported and nobody ever hear from these women again. When I was growing up, they would put a missing person on like a milk carton or something.
Have you seen it?
Right? Have you seen this person? These sisters is coming up missing and nobody even cares.
Yeah.
But they care about Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion shaking their tail on TV half naked though, right? We'll put all the energy in that. But what about this though? What this brother just read, right? What about that? So that's it on that. Well, we got what we needed from that. That's the point I wanted to make, is that our women is coming up missing, and we're sexualizing our women. Our women are being sexualized. And don't get me wrong, it's women that agree with this, but it's men too that agree with this. It is men, it is wicked men in our nation that agree with a woman shaking her tail on the stripper pole, that agree with Cardi B. Don't see nothing wrong with that performance. Don't see nothing wrong with the state of black people. These are the type of black people that say, why don't you mind your own business, right? Because they hate their people. They don't give a damn. So I want to make that clear that this is not just, I'm not bringing this up because I seen about 3 posts where black women were defending Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion's performance. There were also black men that are okay with this. They in the stripper clubs right now. They're in the stripper clubs right now looking at somebody's daughter that grew up in a dysfunctional home that's broken, you know what I mean? That's on drugs. Because you can't do what they do and not be on drugs. You can't be in a porno. You can't be in them damn porno movies. You can't have a OnlyFans and not have something wrong with you, right? Man or woman. You got to be on some kind of substance to even look yourself in the mirror after you done did all of those acts, right? That's just how it goes. You know what I mean? Drop that. Who got the other scripture? You got it? Mm-hmm. Salaki, what's your name again?
Not the son, sir.
No, not you.
Oh,
Rigo,
right. Young man Rigo. Give me that.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 1. Now therefore hearken, O Israel, unto the statutes and unto the judgments which I teach you, for to do them, that ye may live and go in and possess the land which the Lord God of your fathers has given you.
So the Lord is telling them to obey those statutes and those judgments so that they can live when they go into that land. So that, you know what I mean? So that they don't get the curses like, I guess you can say, we ended up getting here in America because our forefathers didn't listen. We got all those curses and we don't live. We don't have the life that we have is a slave's life. We don't live like, what was it? I was talking to my rib, and she was saying how she was in line at a supermarket and it was a white woman. She had the card. She had her card, and they got in some kind of conversation. And the white woman said, "We got the cards. He makes we spend the money on the card. He makes the money, and we spend the money on the cards." Like, and I was like, I said, you see. They live like a white woman is live. She like a black woman. That's the life that they want. When they say they don't want no broke nigga and all that, that's the life they really want, right? And they really live. Their children are not, struggling and strung out or nothing. And if they are, they can put them in rehab. They're able through their forefathers conquering America and setting up this great infrastructure for them. They're able to actually live a life how Black and Hispanic people desire to live, right? Where you ain't, working check to check and you ain't, struggling. I'm talking about Black and Hispanic people as a whole, as a nation. I'm not talking about individuals because, there are Black people that have found a way to go high in Esau's government and in Esau's world and provide a good life for themselves. But I'm saying, for the Black people in general, Hispanic people in general, our lives is hard. We ain't really living. You know what I mean? We ain't got the life that the Lord wanted us to have because we are hard-headed people. Our forefathers is hard-headed, stiff-necked, hard-headed, don't want to do what's right, want to do what you want to do. We people that love pleasure. We want to do what we want to do and do what we feel like. You get an attitude if somebody tell you what to do. Your boss tell you what to do, you can get an attitude. You know what I mean? Because we, deep down inside, we are hard-headed people, man. And the Lord was trying to tell us right there and then, listen, if you follow these laws, statutes, and commandments, you'll live. But we don't live in America. We work hard and we die harder. Keep reading on.
Verse 2.
Verse 2.
Chapter 4. Ye shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall ye diminish aught from it, that ye may keep the commandments of the Lord your God, which I commanded.
Skip down to verse 5.
Verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me, that ye shall do so in the land whither you go to possess it.
So Moses is saying that I've taught you all the things you need to know to go into that land and live, the land that the Lord gave you to possess, which was the land of Israel. Keep going. Verse 6.
Verse 6. Keep therefore and do them.
And what?
And do them.
And do them. We don't do them. Matter of fact, we're not even taught the law, statutes, and commandments by the Christian pastors. You see what happens in the Christian church. You see what happened with Kirk Franklin and his son. His son is a full-blown sodomite, right?
Right.
And he grew up in the Christian church. So Christianity, that right there lets you know that Christianity says, listen, be whatever you want to be. Whatever lust you want to do it as long as you believe that Jesus Christ died for you on the cross. That's it. You can do whatever you want to do. There is no restriction in the Christian church. It ain't telling you not to do what not to do. It's telling you to be all you can be, do whatever you want to do. Just as long as you come in here and pay your tithes, you know what I'm saying? You shout up and down, you bang that what is it? What's them things called? Tambourines. You know what I mean? You fall out. As long as you do that and you put them tithes in that basket, you can do whatever you want to do, right? But right here, the Lord said to do them. Do what? Do the commandments, to keep the commandments. And our forefathers didn't do them. That's why we ended up in America. That's why we went through the hell. That's why we went through lynching and Jim Crow and segregation. Well, segregation is of the Bible, but what happened during the times of segregation? When we built all of those cities and those towns and the white man burned them to the ground, that's why we went through all of that. We went through all of that because our forefathers didn't do what the Lord commanded them to do back then. Go ahead, I.
For this is your wisdom.
This is what?
Your wisdom.
Your wisdom. Go ahead.
And your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
Now this is really deep, because what it's saying is the law, statute, commandments is our wisdom. Our wisdom is like this. The Chinese, they eat whatever they want. They'll eat your dog. They'll eat a pit bull. But when you look at black and Hispanic, you say, nah, we don't eat that. That's our wisdom. We don't eat shellfish. We don't eat crustaceans. Just something you done scraped off the body of a whale. No, we don't eat that. You know what I mean? Like the world say two men can come together and have a family, and we say no, a man is supposed to be with a woman and have a family and have children. That's the law, statute, commandments. That was supposed to be our wisdom. Like we're supposed to differentiate ourselves from the other nations. It should be a striking, clear difference between God's people and the whole world, right? Read that again.
Keep therefore, verse 6, keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations.
In the sight of the nations. That's what I just said. So what we do in the sight of the nations, they would see us like as a wise and understanding people. They would see what we do and see that we're different from them. Keep reading.
Which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
And these other nations will look at black and Hispanic people like, surely this is a wise and understanding people, man. Like they would look at us like, if they had an issue, they would be like, let's go to them, because they would know how to judge this matter. If these nations, had anything that they couldn't understand or couldn't figure out, they would say, we can go to them. This is a wise and understanding nation. And that's how the Bible is saying they would look at us if we kept the law, statute, commandments. But how does the world look at black people today? I'm gonna just ask you, how does the world look at black women today? We've been talking about it since I started class. Anybody? Rico.
Sluts, whores.
Sluts and whores. Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B. That's how the world looks at our women. That's how the world looks at black people. They look at, how do they look at black men? Somebody.
Thugs and idiots.
Thugs, idiots,
Dope
fiends,
fiends.
pimps, criminals,
Right.
drug dealers. That's how the world looks at us. And that's the reason why when we say we're God's chosen people, they like, nigga, what? Nigga, what? You're God's chosen people? Like, get out of here. Get out of here. Y'all not God's chosen people. Y'all can't even get y'all act together. Y'all criminals and thugs. You know what I mean? Your women is paraded around the earth as the whore of the earth on music videos and the Grammys. And that's considered women empowerment in the black community. Like a whore is women empowerment. They consider our women being half naked and being a whore as women empowerment. So that lets you know how the world looks at us because we don't keep the law, statute, commandments, right? But because we follow the Christian church and Christian pastors,
Right.
that's how the world looks at us. But if we would have did what the Lord said, they would look at us like, damn, these people are wise and understanding people. These people are people that we can count on. We can go to them for answers. We can go to them, and if we have an issue, if we can't figure it out, we know they can figure it out because they don't even eat pork. They won't touch no pork. They don't even do this. You know, they don't do that. You know what I mean? They are separate. They're holy. They're different, right? So, Wap, you have something to say? Go ahead, give me that.
Romans chapter 1, verse 21. Because that when they knew God, they glorified him not as God, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish heart was darkened. 22. Professing themselves to be wise,
Right.
they became fools.
Right. So professing yourself to be wise, you became a goddamn fool. And you became a fool for Christianity and in turn a fool for the so-called white man. Right? That's what you became. That's what we became fools for, because now we love his lifestyle, his society, and what he says is right, instead of loving what the Lord says is right, man. We don't love what the Lord says is right, right? We hate what the Lord says. Like, you know how we know that we hate what the Lord said is right? It's because when we on them street corners, how many of our people hate what we say?
Yeah.
And we just saying the words of the Lord.
That's right.
So if you hate what we say, you hate the Lord. Your problem ain't with us, it's with the Lord.
Right.
You got a big problem with the Lord. And you don't want to be on the other side when he come back, straight up and down.
Right.
I'm telling you right now. Like, I understand that the Lord has vengeance for the so-called nations that's been against us, but he also is going to judge his people. And you do not want to be on his bad side, right?
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So anybody else is holding anything? Anybody want to interject anything? Go ahead, Shadarat.
Oh, this might be a little bit off topic, but I had
That's cool.
some of Stacey Dash's information.
Okay, go ahead.
They say on Wapika, her father is black.
Okay.
And they say that her mother's Mexican.
All right then.
And also when the sheriff's, she got arrested, and she put down, she put down white when she got arrested.
Good night. So she put down Caucasian.
Right.
Wow. She wanted to get the first class treatment, huh?
Mhm.
She wanted the first class treatment,
Right.
right?
It's like it's her.
Go ahead.
Dash is her cousin.
Mhm.
And
Oh, so he's not her brother. I always heard that he was her brother.
they're related, but he's her cousin.
Okay. All right, then. Well, she an Israelite. All right. She's got to get her mind right. You know what I mean? She got to come over to this side. You said what?
And Salaki, sir. And they say one more thing in this little read right here. It says clearly she has an identity problem.
Oh yeah. And she's not the only person. She's not the only black person that has an identity problem. We black and Hispanic people as a whole have an identity issue, right? And that's our whole problem with all the bad things that go on with us. We got an identity issue. We think we one of them. We think that we can fit in. We think that we can be a part of the melting pot, right? America is the big melting pot where all the nations come in together, and you know, you just live and you have your you be what you want to be, right? That's just like the Tower of Babel, right? That's just like Babylon. All the nations under one umbrella. Funny thing is, they say it's the melting pot, but black people are the only ones that get burnt, right? We the ones getting the bad end of the stick all the time. Black and Hispanic people. It's a big melting pot, and it's the land of opportunity for everybody else, but for our people, we get the bad end of the stick, right?
So like I said, we're close to the fire. At the bottom of the pot.
Yeah. We close to we at the bottom of the pot. That's better. Yeah, that's a better way of saying it. We in the melting pot, but we at the bottom of the pot. We right next to the heat, right? So let's get Hebrews. Let me see. Where's that? Hebrews 13 and 16. Is anybody online to see if there's any questions? Anybody saying anything?
Let me see.
So like you said, what's Hebrews what?
13 and 16.
16.
Wow.
Brother, if you could, Kevin Scott, you said when people listen to Cardi B, they are listening with their ears. The girl is talented. She doesn't need to show her body to pack a stadium. All right, elaborate a little more, Kevin Scott, on what you're saying, because from what I heard, Cardi B got a ghostwriter. You said she's talented. What talent did she got? Because as far as I know, she got to that spot by being a stripper, if I'm not correct, right?
You're absolutely correct, sir.
Yeah.
She has a ghostwriter. They write the songs for her.
Right. Thank you.
She's got the voice for it.
You said Cardi B is talented. The brother, whoever the brother is, that's the ghostwriter, is actually got all the talent, right? And her only talent is showing her funky behind on television. Kevin Scott, go ahead, huh?
So when she first started, she was with a DJ that had access to like a whole bunch of different stuff, and he told her himself that she was trash.
Right.
Yeah, he said that her music is whack.
Right. Like, don't get me wrong, Black and Hispanic people are the salt of the earth, and there's a lot of, matter of fact, get me what I want. I want Jeremiah 2 and 14. Is that what I want? Judah Morning.
14:2.
14:2. Give me 14:2. Don't get me wrong, Black and Hispanic people are very talented. We are absolutely the most talented people on the planet of the earth. A lot of times we have this debate of whether or not we African or not, right? And I always bring up this example just to show how we're even different from Africans, Negroes that came on slave ships. When a white man wants some talent, where does he go? Say he wants somebody for baseball, or he wants somebody for basketball or football. Where does he go?
Chicago.
He goes to the hood for the niggas, right? They come right out of the hood. Where does he go for the baseball players?
República Dominicana.
Right. He goes to Dominican Republic. He goes to Cuba. He don't go to Africa, right? He don't go and get, you would think Africa produced the raw talent, right? He don't go there for that talent. He gets the children of God. That's who he gets to entertain his kingdom. His kingdom is entertained by Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, the real biblical Jews, right? And so Black people, brothers that rap, sisters that rap, they are talented, right? There is a lot of us that have, bars, skills. You know what I mean? When it comes to the wordplay, when it comes to poetry, when it comes to, art, whatever you want to, whatever, right? But it's not what we, how can I say, it's not the bar so much, it's not the wordplay, it's what it's used for, right? It's the negativity in it. There was always a message in our music. Now, if you go back, a lot of us wasn't even born, but we have YouTube where we can go back and you can listen to some of those Motown sounds. You can listen to some of them songs and you'd be like, wow, this really was singing about some love. This was really about a man and a woman loving one another. So you can see how it changed over time, and now the messages in the music is not the same, but the talent is still there. The wordplay, the bar play is still there. But what am I looking for? The meat, what they talking about is off, but the bar play is still there, right? So you still love it because that's who we are. We got the wordplay. We got the wordplay. We got the sweet voices. We the best singers. You know what I mean? So it's all of that. I say all of that to say that we are talented, right? But in this case, the white man has them using their body as their talent. Mm-hmm. They're using their body as their talent. And those music executives, their children is not shaking their ass. Mm-hmm. Their daughters ain't shaking their ass, paraded around the world. They're using our daughters for that purpose, right? To make billions of dollars, right? Go ahead, Shadow.
Yeah, back when I was like in the clubs or at a house party, they had a fast music, everybody dancing, but then they had a slow music, like that movie Coolie High.
Right.
They turn the lights out, right?
Right.
They play the slow music. And what I noticed that's different, and I know a lot of brothers my age notice, is that when you twerking and you're doing all that stuff real fast, you're in the speed thing just to get the clothes off, seem like right there.
Right.
But we would slow dance with them. There was a style to our slow dancing with women when we go to ask them in the club. Can I have this dance or whatever? We don't say it like that, but I dance with this sister. We're gonna go slow, and it's just a dance. It ain't like you just going trying to just get the feel of the whole goddamn body.
Right. And let me just add to what
they say, romantic.
Let me just add to what you were saying. There's a difference between dancing, and then there's sexual dancing. You get what I'm saying? Like a lot of the dances that these women is doing is sexual dancing, right? This is some type of dancing that really it should be behind closed doors. It should be with your man. It shouldn't be or in a strip club. Not saying that I condone it, but I'm just saying like that has become the norm in our society now. It's normal for women to dance like that and gyrate like that. Right. Now, what you're talking about is real dancing, and then you have sexual dancing. It's two forms of dancing, right? Brothers know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Go ahead, Doc.
There was two forms of slow dancing too. I call it the double clutch, but it's like the single and the double clutch, but it was romantic.
The brother ain't responded.
Let me check something.
He can't respond because that was the truth. She got a ghostwriter. She don't even write her own. She don't even write her own songs. Go ahead, Doc.
So I hear like Nas is talent raw, but he don't have a Grammy till I think yesterday he won his first Grammy, right?
Oh, he did. I don't know. He did.
First time.
Yeah, well, when it's a certain kind of vibe they want our people to be on when they in that music industry. They want them to make a certain type of music, right? And so it's irresistible for you coming out the hood, ain't never had nothing. You gonna take that music deal. You know what I mean? You ain't never had nothing. You know what I mean? But the point is that these record execs, their children ain't doing that, man. Their children ain't, gyrating and dancing. You think they have? And most of the record industry is ran by the fake Jews, if you didn't know. The same people that canceled Nick Cannon. They canceled him. What was the show? Wild 'N Out. They canceled this show. Oh, yeah. They canceled this show. But these are the same people that run these music companies. But their daughters ain't, gyrating. They're not going to parade their daughters around. They're going to parade Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians' daughters around. They're going to, use our people for that purpose. Go ahead, Al.
Oh, Salaki, sir. Salaki, I was going off the topic, but
it's cool.
I was gonna say that Cardi B, she actually does have a talent, and that's like being able to relate to the modern women at this time period. Like she knows how to speak in a way where it's just like, oh yeah, I'm so blunt, and it's really just all about money for me, and it's like, okay, I don't care. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna say some vulgar things online, and I'm just gonna say all the truth of what's going on with me. And like women adapt to that at this time period because they doing the same thing. They sleeping with a whole bunch of random men.
It's really not women empowerment, it's whore empowerment.
Right. Exactly.
That's what it is. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
So I'm Mexican, so if a sister used to act like that, we used to just kick her out the car. But with Cardi B, she gets away with a lot of stuff like air.
Right.
And it's like, girl, you got body, but you gotta get the hell out the car. Right. Your mind is nothing there. But now I'm starting to see that everyone's infatuated with that annoyingness and with just plain stupidness.
Right.
Because the girl don't have nothing but.
See, what's going to have to happen is the Lord is going to have to send another pandemic. The Lord is going to have to see. Black people was afraid for their life and, you know, buying guns and learning how to shoot a gun when the pandemic came. And now we just reverse back to how it was before the pandemic, right? We had the fear of God in us, like,
Right.
oh, this is it. This is the last days. Everybody talking about it's the last days and becoming Christian and all of that. Right. And our people are just hard. Our people is hard-headed, man.
Right,
like
right.
We read it earlier. Black and Hispanic people are just hard-headed, man. It will actually take for the Lord to come for our people to get it together and wake up and see the errors of their ways, to see that you know, this society has always steered us in the wrong direction. Yeah. Like our people at one point in time, I would go out on a limb and say that black people right after slavery were better than black people right now. Right. And the reason why I say that is because they knew what time it was.
Right.
They knew that the white man was their enemy.
Right.
They just got out of slavery. They knew for sure who their enemy was, and they didn't have a problem being segregated and building something for themselves and just living their lives, right? Right. So what was you gonna say?
It's like I was just gonna say that was our most successful time that we had.
The most successful time we've had in the history of being in America was right when we got out of slavery. For real. That was the most successful time. And it was a time when, since we're on this Cardi B thing and Megan Thee Stallion, it was a time when black women were the most beautifulest and most stylish. They always been beautiful. Beautiful is not a word, but they always been stylish.
That's right.
But it was that time when, you know, like the 1920s, when black women was, you know, dressing up, you know, that what was that, the Harlem Renaissance. Black women, you know, you can go look at the pictures, and they was bad to the bone, but they was covered up. And, you know, and that's not to say it wasn't no hoes back then, but it's just to say the morality in our people as a whole has dropped. The level has dropped, and we don't even know what's right or wrong today in this society. And it's sad that our people would even argue that, you know, we shouldn't be upset or we shouldn't feel some type of way about them putting two black women half naked on television on a show that's, you know, what is it, broadcast all over the world, and to think that this is not a negative image for black women. Like this is a women's empowerment. Like that's how low we've came. Right. You know what I mean? And part of the reason is because we're hard-headed, but another part is because our leaders. So while I'm still on the music, I want to get Jeremiah. I want to get Jeremiah 14:2.
I got it right here, sir.
Because that's going to help me bring home the point I was trying to make about 10 minutes ago. Who got it?
Come on. I got it. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 14, verse 2. Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof, languish. Hold on. Judah mourneth, meaning Judah is mourning. He mourneth. So that means he's mourning. What is it to mourn? Rico.
It's fine. He's sad.
He's okay. I'll take that. Any more?
Could be breathing.
I'll take that.
So like you said.
Go ahead.
Could it be destroyed?
Destroyed? That I'll take that too. Everything I heard, there's no wrong answer to it, right?
But there's a particular word, right?
No. Go ahead, sis.
To have regrets.
I'll take that too.
All right.
So I got the definition: the expression of deep sorrow for someone who has died. That's mourning, right? You know, when you lose a loved one, right? Maybe I'm not reading it right. I'm reading it straight off the internet. Right. So somebody get the Webster's. The Webster's usually is a more official. We want to break this down because I want to talk about that music. I was trying to make that point about music, about how we do have the talent, but when it comes to the message that's in the music, right? So we don't negate that's why in Isupk we listen to rap music. You know, the Christians say, oh, you can't listen to that devil music. No, we listen to all music. You know what I mean? We listen to, because that's not the music that they call gospel music. That's not of the Lord. That ain't even of the truth. The Lord don't love that. Don't care about that. Kirk Franklin, Stone to the what now? The Lord don't care about that. You know what I mean? The Lord and the angels is probably sitting there snickering like, this nigga, like this nigga, like what? The angels is up there like, nigga, blocking. I'm blocking all them praise that. I'm blocking all these blessings. Like this music ain't it, right? Because it's really not about the music with the Lord. It's about the truth. So it's about what you're singing about, and what they're singing about is Christianity. That's white Jesus. It don't got nothing to do with the Lord, right? All of that stuff, all of them songs that was started from the time of slavery on. Now, I will say that some of the Negro spirituals they came about early, before, you know, Christianity indoctrinated slaves. So the Negro spirituals, one that we all know is Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, right? And to somebody that knows what it means, know exactly what those slaves were singing about, right? I actually went into some Negro spirituals, and they talk about Canaan's land, talk about Babylon, the oppressor. They talk about things that are not Christian concepts.
Right.
These are biblical concepts. These are old what do you call it? Old Testament concepts. They don't sing about Ghana, in Mali, and Senegal. None of them old Negro spirituals is talking about West Africa. They're talking about Israel.
Right.
Right. So, but I don't want to get too far off. Give me that.
So did you want the definition?
Give me the definition. Yeah. Mourning. We're on mourning.
The Merriam-Webster definition of mourning: the act of feeling or expressing sorrow, an outward sign, as black clothes or an armband, of grief for a person's death. More from Merriam Salakia. All Salakia. Yeah, I think that's it.
That's it. So mourning. Go ahead.
I know, speaking of Judah, but could it also refer a little, like an example of Issachar in the front gate to the border, just waiting to jump over?
I wouldn't go that far, but it can be used for Issachar is in mourning too. And the way we're using it is that we're a destroyed people, right? So Judah mourneth, the Gadites mourneth, the North American Indians, they mourning right now. They have the highest rate of suicide and alcoholism.
Right.
And they were once a proud people. There was a proud people that roamed America freely. And then you have the so-called white man come and kill them off, you know what I mean? And still make treaties with them and give them handshakes and steal their land.
Right.
And now they own reservations, their own land that was the worst land, that the land you couldn't even produce crops on and, you know, grow stuff on. So they, not only did he take their land, he gave them the worst of the land. So they're in mourning. Negroes are definitely in mourning, right? Our Hispanic brothers are in mourning, right? California, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona was taken from them. They're in mourning. So what I want to talk about in this point I was going to make was about the music. Our music is about mourning. I was saying we have the talent. We have the gift, the gab of the wordplay. We have all of that. But our music is talking about death. Our music is talking about killing. You know, our music is talking about surviving.
Right.
That's all we can, with all the talent that the Lord gave us, that's all we can muster in our music. That's all that our spirit brings out in America, is the negative things of our life and the things we go through. A lot of times we'll say it's street music. We'll say, I'm a street reporter. A rapper say, I'm a street reporter, right? I'm telling you how it is where I'm from. You know what I mean? But really, we just rapping about and we're singing about mourning. Now all the songs now are about I take your woman. You know, the woman saying I take your nigga, I now get on top of him and do this to him. Megan Thee Stallion,
Right.
talking about, you know, sexual acts on a man. Take your man and how much he all on her, and then he pay her after her service. Our music is about mourning. Now, however you want to cut it up, you want to cut it up with the women or the men. It's about it's all bad and all negative. There's nothing good message you can get out of our music, other than it sounds good to your ears. It's got a banging beat. You know what I mean? It make you bob, but other than that, when you really look at it, our music is about mourning, man, because we are in hell. Keep reading. You said the gate. Wait, you read that. The gates. You was gonna say something, Shutter Rock?
No, I was just
the gate thereof language. The gates are like, you've heard this 1,000 times. A gate is put around your house to protect it from intruders. And our gates have language. Our gates are our leaders that would have shepherded us and taught us the right things on how to be, the right things on how to live. Like, even though we're in hell in America, our lives still could have been heaven in America with the right leadership. We could have been doing good in America like the so-called Jew or the Chinatown, Chinese man,
Right.
Chinatown in every major city, right? They only hire their people. You go in the beauty supply shop, it's only Asian people. They ain't hiring nobody else. But they live in a sort of a heaven within America because they know how to deal with their own people. They know how to live with their own people. You know what I mean? They know how to deal with their people. And so if we would have had the right shepherds, the right leaders to show us to do them, like we read in Deuteronomy 4 and 5, those commandments to show us to keep these commandments, we would be better off here in America, even though we in the hell, because we would have the brotherhood and the sisterhood, and it would be so strong that whatever the so-called white man did against us wouldn't even matter, right? Wouldn't no black women be coming up missing if we had our own, you know, city, keeping the Los Angeles commandment, because wouldn't no white man be in there? Yeah. So in any wicked nigga thinking he gonna be snatching black women, oh, we gonna find him out.
That's right. That's right.
You know, nigga, you gonna get put to death. Just like in the scripture, you know what I mean? We would be able to police ourselves. You know, a lot of things that go on that happen to us happen because we are so separated and divided. So it's just like when a predator hits when a lion is chasing the pack of gazelle, and they like scatter them, and they try to they can sing when they scatter, they can single out, and then they can get one. But when they're together, they can't get one. All they can do is run around. And they trying, but they can't really get nothing. But let one of them separate. They can get him. See, that's how we are. We separate. So anybody can take advantage of us. Anybody can hurt us, can do whatever they want to us. We come up missing, whatever. Sandra Bland, whatever. Like you get what I'm saying. If we had our own city, if we had under the under the Lord, couldn't nobody touch us, man. Couldn't nobody touch us but the Lord. If you was a wicked ass nigga, yeah, you'll get found out real quick. It wouldn't be like Chirac. It wouldn't be like LA. You wouldn't be able to kill a brother and, you know, still go ahead and live your life and be in the shadows, get rid of the gun. Nah, probably the same night somebody be knocking on your mama door. Your son. We're looking for your son. Like, yeah, he put somebody to death. We're about to put him to death. You know, like it'll be like that. We wouldn't have to worry about that, man. But we don't have the proper leadership. We never had it here in America. Go ahead, shut around.
And also to piggyback off what you're saying, you know, we don't know our history and our fathers where they came from. You know, you speak with any white man on the corner, or any Jewish man or whatever, Italian man, Chinese and Japanese too, and even the Africans and East Indians, they can tell you who their great father is.
Oh yeah, they can.
Trade, they specialize there, and that's what keeps the family close.
Right.
That's how you get close. That association to your past. you know,
Right.
who you come from, your roots together, you know, like that. And that's why we're destroyed.
That's right. That's what you said is so right. Like they can tell you who their forefathers is. We can't tell you that. You might find some black people that, you know, they got a picture of their great grandfather, or, you know, they know the name, or something has lasted 3 or 2 generations down to them. But the vast majority of us are disconnected from, you know, who we were, you know, who we come from. You know, I know a lot of black people would like to know who was their great grandfather. A lot of Hispanic brothers would like to know who was their great grandfather, and know what was his life like. What did he go through? What was their great grandmother's life like? What did she go through? How did she live her life? Right. And if you knew those people, it would put something in you, a type of pride in you that can't nobody take away. But we're like a people that, we're like a baby that's cut from that's inside the womb, but the umbilical cord being cut. So we don't have an identity. So in search of one, we'll try everything in search of one. We'll try every ideology, we'll try every religion, we'll try every philosophy, and try to live by it and think, okay, this is my identity. This is who I am. And don't know we are so far off, right? You got that, not to lie?
Oh, you want did you still want Hebrews?
We was on 14 and 2. Was that all of it?
Sir.
Okay.
They are black unto the ground.
They are black unto the ground. Now this is twofold. You can use this as they are black, meaning like black people. But black also means it's a condition also. It's like a low condition, a low state. You know what I mean? There's another scripture where it says their visage is black. Like their visage is black. If somebody could find that, but that's all. That's saying that physically and spiritually, in a way of a condition, we're in a low condition. We're mourning. You got to look at the context of how we started. Judah mourneth. That's a bad condition already off top. You in mourning. You sad. You hurt. You sorrowful. You know what I mean? And what I relate to this also is the trauma. I spoke about this last time I did class was like, what, 2 weeks ago? I spoke about the trauma from what has happened to us, and how they said they did studies with the so-called Jewish men and said the Holocaust, those people suffered trauma, and that trauma they still feel to this day. But the Holocaust only lasted, if I'm correct, 6 years. Didn't the Holocaust last 4 years? I've been saying 6. I knew it was somewhere around there. 4 years, and they say they're still affected by that. And so this trauma, because you got fake Jews that have been born and was never in the Holocaust. You know how they tell us you was never a slave. How you talking about, you know, slavery? You wasn't never a slave. I never was a slave owner. Well, they say that these Jewish people still feel the effects of the Holocaust and racism and anti-Semitism, right? So if they can still feel the effects for 4 years, for something that lasted 4 years, then why can't we feel it for 400? Why can't we still feel the effects for 400, right?
That's right.
That's what I'm talking about with this mourning. Why can't we feel? That's the mourning the Bible is talking about. The trauma. I think I went over Jeremiah 30 and 30, where the Lord said that our wound is incurable. He afflicted us with a wound. Yeah. That was slavery, and it's incurable. It's a sore wound. It was a wound of an enemy, but he did it to us because of our transgression, because of our hard-headedness, because of our the fact that we didn't want to follow the law, statutes, and commandments. But that trauma has been passed down generational. They just said a brother killed a whole family over a stimulus check.
Man.
And a lot of people will talk about, they would say, you know, they think it's over money. No, that's mental illness.
Right.
Man.
That's a lot of problems going on in your mind, and things that's been passed down by your father and your mother, that's been passed down by her father and her mother. That's trauma. That's part of the trauma is the mental illness that we have in the Black and Hispanic community that we don't talk about. Part of that trauma, part of that mourning is, you know, going through it in your mind, having so much on your head, having so much struggle, having the world on your back, and then they're expecting you to perform and be just like everybody else and say, what's wrong with you? Why can't you get it together? Why can't you just pull your bootstraps up and, you know, do like me? Like I came from a bad neighborhood and I went to Harvard and you know, why can't you? You know what I mean? But they don't understand the trauma and the pain that's been passed down in the Black and Hispanic community. And they look at us like, why the hell, why y'all act like this? Why are you so angry? Why are you so mad? Why are Black women angry? Why Black men always do this and do that? It's more than what you see on the surface going on in Black and Hispanic people's heads and in their mind and in their spirit. We mourning. And while you're mourning, any little thing might make you snap. You might hurt one of your brothers. Go ahead, Doc.
It's a trick because they playing like they don't know, but they do. Because there was I forget the lady's name. She was doing this like a seminar type setting.
Give me a time check. Go ahead.
There was a bunch of Edomites there. She's an Edomite woman. She was like, raise your hand if you would give your life up right now to be Black. Nobody there.
I seen that video. It was like a college professor, and she was talking to a group of white young people, and she said, "Raise your hand if anybody in here will want to be Black." And nobody raised their hand, huh? That's right. No, sir. They didn't raise their hand. They understand. They understand. Get that brother a hand. Right. Get that brother a hand. They understand. They do understand. They do understand that it is. They don't want our lives. That's right. Right. And it's almost like we got to work. What is it? They say twice. I say you got to work 3 times as hard to get in the same position as your counterpart, the so-called white man, to get the same things. And then when you get there, you're not going to get the same pay. You're not going to get the same treatment anyway, right? A lot of Black people that made it to areas in this world and thought that it was going to be different and find out that they just a nigga. Man. They get treated just how they would have got treated if they wasn't on that level, right? Not to Zach.
Salaki, sir. The time is 8:59, and I also got that precept that you asked for.
Which one is that one?
It's Lamentations 4 and 8.
Is that
their visage is blacker than coal?
Yeah, we can get that one. Go ahead and read it. I don't know why I was thinking Lamentations 4 and 17, 4 and 18. So like.
The book of Lamentations, chapter 4, verse 8. Their visage is blacker than a coal. They are not known in the streets. Their skin cleaveth to their bones. It is withered. It is become like a stick.
Right. So a visage is a person's face. With reference to the form or proportions of the features, right? Or their facial expression. So right here we see he says their visage is black as coal, right? So you can use that as literal, or you can look at it like how we just did with Jeremiah 14 and 2, in a state of mourning, like a low state, right? And so what's the point I was making before? Read it from the top one more time.
Oh, God. The book of Lamentations, chapter 4, verse 8. Their visage is blacker than a coal. They are not known in the streets.
They are not known in the streets. Keep reading.
Their skin cleaveth to their bones. It is withered. It is become like a stick.
Now this also happened in the siege of Jerusalem, when the Romans encamped around Israel and we couldn't get out of the gates, and they sealed off the walls, and we started to starve inside the gates of Israel. So this also is a historical event that happened. This actually happened in 70 AD, right? You was gonna ask me something?
Yeah, the point you was making was that black is a condition.
Black is a condition. Why? Black is a condition. It's a color, but it's also a condition. And I think in the Bible, black is something that's low. I think not the Bible, but the definition of the color black is something that's like low and without. Somebody help me out.
Darkness is always something considered.
Yeah. Darkness is always bad, right? But we don't want to be like the conscious community was like, you see that black sheep. Yeah, the white man is the devil because that black ball on the pool table. Like we don't want to be like the conscious community where everything black is some kind of deep thing against them. Go ahead,
They say it's impure.
Impure. That's one of the. And white would be the opposite of everything bad. Everything black is, which is everything bad, and white is everything that's pure and good. And you know what I mean? So that's that. So we never went over Hebrews. What was that? 13 and 13 and 16. Yeah. I'm gonna end with this. You know what? Now we're just gonna end. We're gonna end. You can drop that. We'll get that another time because that's on a whole nother topic. And so in ending and in closing, we got that whole scripture. No one was holding another scripture, right? Not Zach. That was all of that scripture.
Come on.
All right, you could drop that. So in closing, we just have to come back to our nationality because at the end of the day, that's the only thing that's going to get our people on the right track. Like it's a sad thing to see. We're in a bad time right now with Black and Hispanic people, with our women, of course, with this thing with Cardi B and them, and this whole empowerment of women is all the way to the left. Now we have to be the stewards. Matter of fact, give me that. Train your child up in the way. We have to be the people like to teach the youth, teach our children, teach the young men and the young women coming up the right way, to see an example of us. You know what I mean? And teach your children, because there are children right now that's growing up in a household where they're playing Cardi B. There's a little boys growing up right now in a household where they're looking at WAP, right? Right?
And what does that mean? Oh, never mind. No,
they're looking at WAP. Yeah, they're looking at WAP. And so they're looking at WAP. They're looking at all of these negative things, that how they push and whoredom and homosexuality and transgenderism, and the young men and young women and the little boys and girls that we teach, that we're training up in righteousness and in the law, statute, commandments, they're going to have to teach them one day, right?
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, so I wasn't trying to be funny. I just learned it definitely what that meant last night, but it slipped me.
Oh yeah, no, it's
I forgot. Then I remembered. I was like, my bad.
It's all good. It's no sweat. Go ahead.
It's like it's I got your precept.
Go ahead, let's read it.
It's Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it.
Right, man. So you teach your children the law, statute, and commandments, and when they get old, they won't depart from it, man. The white man is the devil, man. So he's gonna try to teach our children everything that is against God, man. But we gotta combat that with coming to class, getting these scriptures, teaching our children, training them up. You know what I'm saying? Giving them all the arsenal they need to fight the devil, right? So when they become of age, they're going to have to do the same thing we doing. Lord willing, Christ come back before that time. Lord willing, Christ come back, and we'll be on a chariot, and we won't have to, live in this hell to where we have to fight every day for the minds and the hearts of our people.
Right.
So with that, pass the class, precinct officer Shadarak.
Teach another hand for a wonderful class. Rise, we're going to give the teacher a courtesy salute. Face the teacher. Men of Israel, Amijah,
Shabbat, Amanja, Barak,
Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shabbat.
Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shabbat. Right, men of Israel, sisters, rise. Men of Israel, face the sisters. Men of Israel, Mazan Shabbat, Amanja, Barak.
Yahweh Shema Alatham Bashem Yahweh Shah.
Okay, Yahya Machad, dismissed.
Yeah, I didn't know